Congratulations to the many people who got a job on campus this time around. Y'all are the batch of 2022 who have completed the last 2 years, almost all of it online. You're going to start a new career. And the fun part of the new career is you're finally going to experience some bit of financial independence. A very happy day to all of you and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm your learning partner Sushila Hariharan, and when you start your investing journey, you will start with the most recommended investments, that is the mutual funds. In this video, we're going to take a look at what are mutual funds fact sheets, fund fact sheets. Okay, mutual funds communicate to their investors through this document called as a fund fact sheet. It's a communication tool that mutual fund managers use in order to communicate about about their investments, about their asset allocation strategies. And in reality, what I do is I read these fund fact sheets to think like a fund manager. You will understand what are these legends thinking about, what are the stalwarts like Prashant Jain, Nilesh Shah, what are they thinking about, how are they acting, are they investing? Are they holding cash? What is the proportion of their investments? Into what sectors? Into what companies? All this comes from the fund fact sheet. So we understand what are the investing strategies of the fund manager. Also, we understand how they dynamically allocate between different asset classes. How do we understand that? Well, a fund fact sheet is released every month. So if you read a monthly fund fact sheet and you compare it to the previous months, then you will easily come to know what are the asset allocation strategies that these fund managers are using. And you can replicate that in your portfolio. And my recommendation to all the people who are joining the investing journey now is to start reading these fund fact sheets, because you will learn a wealth of information, a wealth of knowledge is embedded in these fund fact sheets. You have to read, understand, interpret, and implement these fund fact sheets in pretty much the same way. A fund fact sheet is a monthly document which is issued by the asset management company for its various funds. Okay, so if you are starting on your investing journey now, you understand that there are many mutual funds. But the mutual fund is owned by the asset management company, that is the AMC. The mutual fund also invests in has different schemes, and each of the schemes has different options. Okay, there is a fund fact sheet for each of the schemes, for each of the funds. Okay, it is mandated by SEBI, that is Securities Exchange Board of India, to release the fund fact sheet on a monthly basis, fund wise. Okay, it's not enough that they give the total picture of the entire AMC. No, they have to give a fund fact sheet for each of those funds that are there. The fund fact sheet gives us very great insights into what the fund manager is thinking. What is he seeing that we are not seeing? Look, a fund manager reads almost 10 to 12 research reports every day. He spends almost 12 hours reading. The accessibility that he enjoys to information, to world class research reports is astounding. Okay, and he reads and dwells on this information and thinks about how that information can be used to allocate amongst various assets. So the fund manager is thinking a lot only after reading, after getting information, after talking to other investors. With that information, they act. How do we know they act? Through the fund fact sheet. So I always tell my participants and my network people, that you can, it's a wealth of information. It's like this, the fund fact sheet is just one sheet, okay? It's just a single sheet. But you just need to look at it, read it, interpret it, understand it, and then you will know what that fund manager is thinking. He is thinking about the entire assets under management, which runs into lakhs of crores of rupees. And he is using that knowledge to interpret and analyze the economic situation. If there is a problem about the Ukraine crisis, he has access to European information, information from the horse's mouth with regards to what is the crisis actually all about. If people are worried about or are afraid about whether the Federal Reserve is going to increase or decrease interest rates, he has that information. So the fund fact sheet is a great way to understand how you can build your portfolio. The fund fact sheet also will tell us what are the sector allocations. Is the fund manager investing in IT? Is he increasing the investment in banking? Has he decreased the investment in manufacturing? It will also talk about asset allocations. Is the fund manager reducing the exposure on equities and increasing the exposure on other assets like fixed income? What is the allocation on cash? For example, in January 2022, a large number of funds have shown significant increases in cash balances. That means they are sitting on cash, maybe new cash that has come in from fresh investments which are yet to be invested. So the fund fact sheet tells us all these documents. So what does a fund fact sheet contain? I'm going to present this in two different videos. This video will talk about the qualitative factors. I will be preparing another video to talk about the quantitative factors. The components of a fund fact sheet, FFS stands for fund fact sheet. The basics include what are the scheme's objective. What is the objective of the scheme? Does the scheme aim to invest in large funds, diversified, large cap stocks, diversified? Is it a small cap fund? Is it a multi-cap fund, etc.? These all are mentioned on the fund fact sheet. Right at the top, the scheme's objective clearly mentions what would be the nature of the investments that it is making. The second component of the fund fact sheet is the NAV, also called as the net asset value. The net asset value is the price of a unit of the mutual fund. Okay, so the NAV is an indicator about the fund manager's performance. Increases in NAV or decreases in NAV is a clear indicator of how the fund manager has performed, of how the fund has performed. And therefore, NAV is an important number to be disclosed. The next item that appears on a fund fact sheet is the various options that are there in that particular fund. These are the plan options. The plan options could be of three types: direct, growth, or dividends. This implies how the investor can invest in that particular fund. The fund fact sheet also contains the OM, that is the assets under management. The assets under management is the volume in rupee terms of the assets that that particular fund manager is handling in the fund. The FFS also contains what is the benchmark. The benchmark is the indicator, okay, against which we have to compare the performance of the fund. You remember in school days, if one student gets 99 marks and you have got 98 marks, you will run to the school teacher and start arguing with them about why you lost 1 mark, or about how 1 mark less was given to you, right? How do you know that? Because you have benchmarked yourself against that particular student. So benchmark performance is very important in the mutual fund industry. This is because in the mutual fund industry, the benchmarks clearly indicate the outperformance of a particular fund or the underperformance of a particular fund. The investor then may want to exit a fund that is underperforming. The fund fact sheet also talks about the exit loads. The exit load implies that when the fund investor wants to exit the particular uh, scheme, is there any charges that he has to pay? It also talks about the investing style of the investor and how much is the minimum amounts that they have to invest in order to get into the particular fund. The FFS, that's the fund fact sheet, also has something called as a riskometer. What is a riskometer? A riskometer is an indicator of whether the fund itself has low risk, moderately low risk, moderate risk, moderately high risk, or very high risk. So these five parameters clearly explain about the fund manager's strategy in terms of aggressiveness in investing. The fund fact sheet also contains the fund manager details which are very important for the investor to know, because most of the time they're investing on the basis of the strength of the fund manager. What are the educational qualifications of the fund manager? What is the experience that he has? Has he been in this industry for 2 decades, 1 decade? Is he a newbie in the industry? How stable has he been in this particular asset management company? What are the funds that he is handling in the particular AMC? So, for example, in an AMC, asset management company, there could be 10 different funds, okay, of which 4 of them could be handled by the same fund manager. All right. So, those details of what the fund manager is handling is very important to note. The most important component in the fund fact sheet is the portfolio analysis. That's why you're reading the fund fact sheet. You want to think like the fund manager. You want to know what is the strategies that she's employing for asset allocation. Has she increased her allotment or her allocation towards equities? Has she decreased the allocation from equities and put the money into fixed income? All this comes when you read the monthly fund fact sheets of 2 to 3 consecutive months. Then you see a pattern. When you see that pattern emerging, you will understand, you will interpret. Because frankly, you are in this journey of investing not for 1 day or 1 week, not even for 1 year. As a newcomer in the investing journey, you are going to be here for a very long time. And it's very important to understand what are the asset allocation strategies that the fund manager is employing. How much is a stock holding? If the fund has, let's say, 100 crores, has it invested the entire amount in stocks? How much has it kept by way of cash balances? What is the cash holding? Why is the fund manager holding cash? Why are they not investing? Are they waiting for a more opportune time? Are they foreseeing that there could be a crisis in the future and therefore they have exited some investments and holding on to cash, waiting for the next opportunity to come up? What is the sector allocation by the fund? Has it increased its exposure in steel sector? Because steel prices, commodity prices generally has seen a very good wave in the last 12 months. Has it reduced its exposure to the banking sector because of interest rate uncertainty? All this comes up in the sectoral allocation. So the portfolio analysis is very important to understand. In my next video, I'll be talking about the different ratios that are mentioned in the fund fact sheet. And in the third video in this series, we'll be doing an actual case of how the fund fact sheet works. Thank you very much for listening into the video. If you have any queries, please post it in the comments box. Please share your feedback with us. My content team is waiting to hear from you. Please hit the like button, share the channel with your friends, and do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your patience. Bye for now.